Hello everyone, how are you all? Okay, so today we have Ruturaj with us from Canada. So let's talk with him about his studies and his journey there. Hello Ruturaj, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, Jessel. How are you?
I'm fine. So Ruturaj, tell us something about yourself.
Okay, so I'm here in Canada for like last 4 years. I did my computer engineering back in India. Then I came here to pursue my master's. And after finishing my graduation with master's in computer science, I started working here. Did a couple of odd jobs before landing a nice field job. But yes, that has been my journey.
Okay, so exactly when you came there, when you went there, and in which city you landed in?
So when I came was December 2017, and first I landed
Okay,
in
and
Toronto.
what have you
Then I
studied
moved
in
to
India?
Windsor because my so in India I did my University of bachelor's in Windsor
Mhm.
computer engineering from Surat, Gujarat, and on basis of that I came here to pursue my master's.
Right, so that was the bachelor's degree of 4 years, right, in India?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and what have you studied in Canada? What course?
So, so in Canada, I pursued master's in computer science. So that's MSc in computer science with a thesis. So it's a research-based degree where I was supposed to finish up a thesis at the end of my curriculum. And apart from that, I had five other subjects to study, and I could have joined the non-thesis based or non-research based degree as well. In my university, it was called MCA or M something like that, Masters in Computer Application or something like that. I'm really not sure at this moment, but it was only subject based, so there was no thesis required.
Right, and what was the duration of your course?
So for the thesis based, there was no actual duration required because it depends on the research. Um, uh, Up to maximum 9 semesters, that means 3 years as per the Canadian education system, because 1 year is about 2 semesters, right? So up to 3 years you can study here. But if you were supposed to get, or if I was supposed to get non-research based, then it's 4 semester. That means 2 years. That means that in 16 months you would have finished your study. So in my case, I did research and thesis and everything within 16 months. So I completed my degree in 2 years to say.
Okay, good. Okay, so to start with, what do you think are the basic benefits of studying abroad, considering any country? But right now you are in Canada, so let us talk about what are the benefits that you see studying abroad.
Um, I always wanted to experience kind of an objective based education and research based education, because not to mention in India, sometimes it gets mugging based education system, or it's sometimes outdated. Here, we have scope, we have no limitations. Whatever research we want to do, whatever we want to do, they make sure that students are heard of, so that's the major point, and that's why I wanted to come here to and study here. And to add something here, I came to Canada in 2014 as well for 2 months as a part of international exchange or international experience program. So I studied in Canada for 2 months during my bachelor's in India, and I finished two courses here, and both those courses were credited back in my bachelor's degree. So that's when I decided that after I finish my bachelor's, I again want to come back to
Right.
pursue my master's and to learn in real sense.
True. True, true, true. Now, having said that, now how the language plays an important role. You are in a country where two languages are dominated, right? English as well as French is also kind of second language there.
Yes.
So, how that language plays very important role, especially for Indian students.
Yes, it plays very pivotal role anywhere I go in Canada, especially if I'm outside Quebec province. In all the remaining provinces, English is must. You should be speaking, you should be writing well, you should be able to read well, you should be able to speak well. Otherwise, survival is very difficult, right? And if you are in a Quebec province, there is one minor exception that French is the most spoken language within the Quebec province. So there, English is considered as a second language. In other provinces, English is the first language and French is the second language. But it's a different thing in Quebec. So if you want to study or if you want to stay in Quebec, make sure that you learn French. Otherwise, things might get difficult, but you can survive. But still, there are a lot.
Yeah, your learning attitude can help you, right?
Yes,
you should be open
exactly.
to learn if you are in Quebec, right?
Exactly.
Right. Was there any competitive exam for your course which you gave for this admission? Just like in
No.
US, we have GRE, TOEFL. So in Canada, do you have any kind of for your course specifically, if I can ask? So any competitive exam you gave?
So I didn't appear for any competitive exam except for IELTS because that's required from the language perspective, but not for my degree requisite.
Okay. So IELTS is must, right? And what is the band requirement in IELTS?
Back in 2017, it was around 6 in individually and 6.5 overall.
Okay.
That was the requirement, but I'm not sure about 2022 because
Right.
it was 5 years back. Yes. So.
Right. And that exam is must, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And after giving your exam, have you selected your college or university? You know, then you have decided your country. You might have given your IELTS, but how to select or decide a college or a university?
So basically, I did a lot of Google search. I went to a lot of forums online, and I researched multiple universities. And I wanted to first of all, I decided the province, that in which province I want to stay, because not all the provinces are as developed as main two provinces, which are Ontario and British Columbia. So that's the most important thing. So my first priority was to stay either in Ontario or in British Columbia. And then I researched about the universities based on rankings and based on the courses they are offering. And I had listed out, I think, 10 universities, out of which I applied in, I think, 5 of the universities, because per application, they charged around $100, 100 Canadian dollars. So I applied with 5 different universities. So I ended up spending around $500, and out of which I was rejected from 4 universities, and the University of Windsor was one where I was selected.
Okay.
Also, yes, please go ahead.
Please go on.
Okay, so the reason behind my rejection in 4 different universities were my CGPA during my bachelor's. So that is also one of the most important thing that you should be considering.
Okay, that is what my next question was. How much bachelor's score is required? You know, for upcoming students, the students who are watching us, so you can just give them a glimpse of what is the best score, or based on which they can get the admission.
Sure. So it depends on university to university. I cannot speak universally. So it's better to check the university prerequisite page, or the admission page for more information. But from the university that I was rejected, University of Ottawa and McMaster University, they were expecting around 80%, 80% in my bachelor's, and I had 76%. So by 4%, I lost admission in those 2 universities, and there were remaining 2 universities as well. I don't remember why they rejected me, because they didn't specifically mention. And yeah, that was the scene. Okay.
So now that you had your university admission card, you know that you are accepted. So now that next part comes is your fees, right? So how you have managed your finances, your fees? In general terms, I may be asking, with respect to the international students who are going to travel, how they can manage their fees. Is it like student loan, or it is self-financed, or how? And what is the best which can be worked out for students?
Sure. So I'll tell you about myself, what I did. So I was required to pay around 10,000 Canadian dollars in my university, out of which around 9,000 were supposed to be my first semester fees, including everything, and $1,000 just extra deposit they wanted, right? So we paid that in cash via wire transfer. After that, for my accommodation and other semesters, and we had to manage the finances. So I took a loan against the house that my parents own in Gujarat. So we took a loan from Punjab National Bank, and that's how I manage my finances. And
Right.
if you have enough cash in hand, or if you can manage personally, there is one thing that is called GIC.
Mhm.
Sorry, I don't know about the full form,
Okay.
but you can. It's like you can store your money
Mhm.
from India in GIC form. So once you come here, every month that bank will give you some amount to
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
to use for your accommodation or your rent and your groceries and everything.
So
So you can
that
go there
was
in
not
any way.
at that at your time, that GIC was not there.
It was there. It was
It
there.
was there. Yeah. So that is,
Yes.
I think, that is a kind of money that we only put and we only get, something like that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. That
Yes.
is, I think, guaranteed investment certificate. So you only put the
Yes.
money
Yes.
and
Yeah.
student will get it. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was there at your time also,
Yes. Yes. It
right?
was there,
So
but
you missed that.
I didn't opt in for that because
Okay.
I already had paid my fees and everything. I paid for
Mhm.
my accommodation. So when I applied for my visa, I had shown all this proof that I have got a loan and I have paid my fees and everything. So I
Right.
don't have to show the GIC proof. But
Right.
if you don't have a loan, you have to
Mhm.
show proof of your finances somehow, right? That
Oh.
you can manage your stay.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, you won't get visa, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And visa you got at the very first go, or there was any kind of rejection or refusal or anything?
No, 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 no. It was
No. So
very,
you
very
got
smooth process.
in the very first go. Okay. And
Yeah.
that was there any kind of interview in your visa?
No, no interviews. As far
No
as you have put all the documents in
document.
order, they won't harass you.
Right. Right. Now let's go back to Canada where you landed. So the question is, what was your first impression about that country or the city where you have landed? Was it as per the expectation, or the reality check was a different one?
So I would say it depends based on the university that you are choosing and based on the city that university is in, right? Because when I came in 2014, I was living in a city called Sudbury. I did my international exchange program or international experience program in Laurentian University.
Mhm.
So when I went there, it was a very beautiful city. They had like 300 plus lakes, all the natural beauties and everything. So I enjoyed going out every day, those like summer months of 2014, June and July. And then we were taken to Ottawa, Niagara Falls, and Toronto. So I had seen, huge buildings and everything, and Niagara Falls and things like that. So I was very happy. And when I was about to come here again in 2017 on a study permit, I had this impression that okay, Canada is a very beautiful city, and I'll explore blah blah blah. But the reality is, right before, like 1 week before my flight, I started searching on YouTube about the videos of Windsor City, and I saw on Google Earth, because here in Canada the Google Earth and Street View is very beautiful.
Mhm.
I was little taken aback because there are no big buildings and things like that as we see in Toronto. So yes, life in Windsor is little laid back. I would say it's a city, but it looks like a town. But
Mhm.
it's a city. There are not a lot of things to do, but yeah,
Yes. So,
I
so
would not say I didn't like it, but I didn't love it, but I liked it. Yeah.
okay, got that. So the expectation was kind of downtown, but we
Yes.
landed in a
Uptown kind
suburb.
of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Suburb.
So
Yeah.
that happens in Mumbai also. If you consider,
Yeah.
Mumbai is like
Exactly.
South Bombay is Mumbai, and if we
Yeah.
end up in some North Mumbai, it's like same as Gujarat only, right? So that
Yes,
happens
exactly.
there also.
Yeah.
Right, right. And what was the first shock that you got? It's like, oh, I
Um,
never expected this. That kind of shock, any shock, like cultural shock, or in your studies, or in personal experience, anything like
um, well, I have to think on that. From the education point of view, yes, I had cultural shock. Yes. Basically, in India, if you are caught eating or drinking in a class, you are punished. So that's the basic rule. But here, you can bring a lot of food, whatever you want. Like you can. bring your drinks as well, your teas, your coffees, and your soft drinks and everything. You can just, keep eating, keep drinking while professor is teaching, because lectures are
Oh,
3 hours long, right? So I could do that,
oh, that's
and
cool.
yeah, and I didn't get bored. And also, if you're hungry, without asking the professor, you could leave the class, you could go to canteen, you could bring food and come back to the class and rejoin, and if you wanted
Ah,
to go to washroom, you didn't have to ask the professor, you just leave. Some students, they wanted to, just walk for a moment, they just left, walked in the lobby, they came back. So this was the main shock from the educational point of view that I had. So kind of liberty that they provide
mm,
is very important, in the growth, in a long-term growth.
true, 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 true.
Yeah.
True. And one thing that you feel that you should have known before lending and you didn't know at that point of time.
um the Canadian winters, the
Winters. I
snow,
knew
snow
that
comes.
this is coming somewhere because Canadian winters are so important, you know. Yes,
Yes.
please go ahead.
Yeah, so I was prepared. I had bought all kind of all-terrain shoes and jackets and hand gloves and the winter caps and everything. But still, I was not prepared, because when you come to Canada, all of your jackets which you bring from India would not work at all. You have to buy from here. So that's one thing. You have to buy your shoes from here, because they know in Canada how to make shoes that they can survive during the Canadian winters. So I was prepared, yet I was not prepared.
Mm,
So that's one thing.
true, 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 very true. Okay, now let's talk about your studies. How is the learning different compared to India, specifically in your field?
Um, so in India, I did my computer engineering. So as we all know, in bachelors, in first year, we are taught all the different engineering subjects, starting from civil, mechanical, electronics, and blah blah blah, and then we go on to the computer basics, the hardware and softwares, and a lot of different languages and etc. So by the end of my bachelor's degree, I was not sure what I wanted to do in terms of which language I should pursue, or what kind of technology I should be pursuing. And by the end of last year, during my bachelor's, I did my Android project. So that was Java and XML. So I was like, okay, I'm good with Java and XML. Then I worked in India as an Android developer. And then, I saw the AI boom. So I was like, no, I'm missing out. I had FOMO, fear of missing out, So I thought to myself that, okay, I should be doing something in AI. That's when I started researching about the different courses the different universities are offering. And then I wanted to do something, real-time based research or real-time based thesis. So that's when I wanted to take an admission in this particular university, and I did my research in HCI, which is human computer interaction. So the one difference between Indian and the Canadian education, I would say, the liberty and the options and the choices that I'm given. In India, there is one thing that we have to follow what the curriculum has been set by the university,
The
right?
fixed pattern, right?
Exactly. In Canada, there is no fixed pattern, apart from the course requirement and the subject requirements that you have to follow. So I was given around 10 or 12 courses, and I was asked to choose only 5 out of them, So I had the liberty to choose courses. I had the liberty to choose courses semester wise. It's not like I have to do this course this semester only. I could do the same course after 2 semesters itself, right? So that helped me a lot in my learning, because sometimes what happens is that in this particular semester you just want to focus on one subject, right? So in my course, the requirement was to finish 5 courses during your whole curriculum duration, right?
Mhm.
So in my first semester, I did 2 courses. In second semester, I did only one course,
Mhm.
right? Whole 4 months, one course only. And
Okay.
in the third semester, I did more courses. And in the fourth semester, I only did thesis. Although I was doing thesis from the starting itself,
Mhm.
but the last semester focus was only thesis. So
Mhm.
I think in India, this kind of liberty is not given,
Not.
as far as my point of view is concerned.
Mhm. Right, right. And talking about that, the college was regular. I mean to say you have to attend the college and lectures daily, or it was weekly, 2 or 3 days. And what was the time duration for the day?
So here, in first semester, I had chosen two courses, and both the courses fell on Monday. So all the lectures are 3 hours long. So in Monday, also Monday morning, I had 3 hours of lecture, and in the evening, I had 3 hours of lecture. Tuesday to Friday, I had no lectures. So I only focused on the assignments, the practicals, the quizzes, the final project, and my thesis. So that was a good thing for me.
Okay.
In second semester, the course that I had, um, it was kind of associated with my thesis. So for that particular course, I was just supposed to have a one-to-one with meeting with my professor. So there were no lectures. So during the whole summer semester, I had no lectures.
Oh, that's
And for the
good.
third semester, I had one lecture on Tuesday and one lecture on Thursday. So again, so it's the same thing. So
Good.
6 hours a week.
The students get good free time,
A
you know,
lot
so
of time. A
they
lot of
can
time.
identify what they want to do. They can study something else. They can learn something else. Good, good.
But I
And
would
how
like to
about,
add something here.
yeah, please,
Sorry, I would
please,
like to add something here.
please.
Um, Although I'm speaking about from the university point of view, but things are very different from the college point of view. Because if you're coming for the degree certificate or a diploma certificate, something like that, let's say in a college, not in the university, then things would be different because you would have lectures every day, Monday to Friday, morning to evening. You would have a lot of courses. So it depends. So if you are coming to college, you don't have to do like your extra work at home. But in the university, even though your lectures are less, you have to do a lot of work at home.
Right.
To learn by yourself, to solve the quizzes, to solve the programs and things like that.
So you are given liberty. So flexibility is
Yes.
there, but learning is the same, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And how about teachers and the local students from there? Did you find any kind of groupism or racism or any differentiation from teachers or from local students as well?
So I'll tell you one story that happened with me. In my university, I had not to be racist, not to sound racist, but I had one African professor, very senior lady African professor. So when I came here during my first semester, she was not treating us well, like myself and my teammate. So I mean, my classmate who was also a student under her supervision. So I felt a little bit racist, and she was asking us to do some volunteering in some African community events and things like that. So from second semester, I changed my professor, and I had put a lot of proofs and a lot of the communication that I had between me and my professor, right? And I had shown this to the chancellor, and I forgot one other person, and they saw and they agreed, and they told me very beautiful sentence. I still remember to this day. They told me, "Thank you for coming to us. You are a customer to our university. You paid fees, and if we are not serving you well, it's our fault. So thank you for coming, and we will change your professor right away. And you are not the first person to complain about this professor.
Okay.
So you are very brave, and thank you for coming to us." And
Oh,
they
that's good.
changed my professor. So even though I felt a little bit of groupism or casteism, or maybe I don't know what kind of things were going in her mind, I experienced this particular incident, right? But people from the university were very well aware of it, and they resolved my issue.
Yeah, so
And
university helped you in the sense.
yes, yes, and I never felt any kind of casteism from the students or localites. Maybe sometimes when you're on the road, you're walking somewhere, you would hear, things like that, but not much in the university itself.
Right, right, right. And how college or university helps foreign students for settling up, for studying, for acclimatizing in Canada. So how they help? Is there any help from them, their side?
Yes. So when I landed, they had organized a couple of orientations for us, and they informed us a lot of things that I can remember one or two things right now, that keep drinking water a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because here in Canada you would not feel thirsty.
Okay.
That does not mean that you are not thirsty and you don't want to drink water,
Oh,
because your body needs it. So that's
right.
one thing that they taught us.
Mm-hmm.
And in a true sense, yes, I was not drinking water at a couple
Mm-hmm.
of times, because
Mm-hmm.
there is no humidity in the environment, so
Mm.
you don't feel thirsty, right? It's a
Exactly.
dry air,
Mm.
right? So to acclimatize and to get yourself, what's the word, to get comfortable in
Mm. Mm.
the comfortable with the environment, I think university has helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right, right. And how about exams? Were they easy or hard? And what was the exam pattern? In India, we have 3 hours of subjective exam. Then we also have MCQ exams. So, what was the exam pattern there, and how was the exam? Easy, hard, or like
Okay. I would say, so the exam had different percentage, but um, throughout the semester we were supposed to work on practicals every week. So it depends on. So I would um, combine all the different subjects and kind of exams and practicals that they had. I would not go subject by subject, right? So in one of the subjects they had quizzes, 3 quizzes per semester. So in those quizzes they were like MCQs, and it was open book based MCQ, and we were supposed to sit with books, either PDF. You can sit with your laptop as well. You can use internet as well. You can use your PPT taught during the lectures as well. You could use any material to solve those quizzes. So that was one of the thing in one of the subjects. In one of the subjects that I had, every week we were supposed to work on problems, the
that?
coding problems. We were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to submit them, and those marks would be counted at the end as well. And in some of the subjects we had midterm exam and final exam. So in midterm and final exam, it's not descriptive, or like in India we have this supplementary and we write a
Ah,
very long questions and we keep
answers.
writing. It's not like that. Here in Canada, we are already given up like a bunch of papers, and they have put a question and they have given the space for the answers, right? And that is the only space that you can use. That means that is the only space that, and this is the answer required for like
No?
10 marks or like 15 marks.
Okay.
So they don't expect to fill up the pages. They expect us to write this much, but qualitative.
Mm, exactly, exactly. You mean to say exam pattern is different for each subject? It's not like India where
Yes,
the pattern is fixed for all the subjects. It's not like
yes,
that, right?
yes, yes.
Okay,
It depends
okay,
on the professor, how they want to conduct the exams.
okay, okay.
Or in one of the subjects, I didn't have exams at all.
Mhm.
We only had assignments throughout the semester.
Okay. So in
That
fact,
was,
in fact,
yeah,
liberty is given to teachers also, to professors
yes,
also. They are given
yes,
liberty the way they want to evaluate the student.
yes, exactly, exactly.
That's good. And how to network? Now you understand that the power of networking, because networking is the only thing which helps you apart from study. So while studying, how students can network better? How they can do networking.
So for myself, what I did is that in my university there was a section called CAW, if I'm not wrong. So it depends on the university to university. You could join different clubs and different organizations within your universities. You could be part of them, right? And you can, there are a lot of purposes being served by those clubs and organizations, and you could be part of one of them. You could do volunteering from the university itself. They do give you a chance to be a part of any events happening on campus, off campus, and you could meet people. And if you are kind of an extrovert, if you're kind of an introvert, it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
because there is a thing for everyone that you can be part of. So that is the main thing about the networking. Second thing being, when you want to like work part-time, try contacting your seniors if there are any. Try contacting people from your own community, right? Or like for example, Gujarati community, Punjabi community, Tamilian, and now Telugu communities and things like that. So they would help you. Also, start connecting with people on LinkedIn and different professional social media. So that would help as well.
Right, right. And how are the placement support or job opportunities? Is there any support from university, and how a student can find that opportunity?
So in my university, they had conducted one placement drive. So it was like a job fair in India. It's the same thing here in Canada as well. It's kind of a job fair. A lot of companies come, but it's not necessary that a lot of companies would be of your field, because I remember even before I was supposed to get graduated, 4 months before my graduation, they had planned a big job fair. But in that job fair, only 4 or 5 companies were there from the computer science field or IT field, right? And there were 100 plus companies. So I think 95 plus companies were not like use for me, right? Because they are not IT based companies. So I would say that placement drive within the university would not be that beneficial, because they don't only focus on one degree or one what do you call one field, because they have to conduct for the whole university, right?
Exactly.
So I would say, here in Canada especially, two websites are very famous. One, LinkedIn. Second, Indeed, right? So these are the main platforms that you can apply. And if you want to go with part-time job, full-time job, contractual job, or seasonal job, all the options are available on LinkedIn and Indeed, because these are the main two platforms in
And
Canada.
and that we have heard for this job opportunity for applying, the resume is also different from our like from India, right? From India, the Canadian resume which we talk about, that is also different. So any reference that you can give or anything you can talk about on resume, or the Indian resume is also fine to get the job there?
So Indian resumes, I think, especially in India, we write objective first thing on the resume. So I think that is not needed, because yes, everybody wants a job, so that's why you are applying. So objective is not needed. Second thing, try writing things in a chronological order. That means whatever you've done last, put it first, right? And then so on and so forth.
All right.
So the sections would be in this order: your name, phone number, address, and email ID, and your LinkedIn profile in the header. Then you would be writing your skills, the kind of expertise that you have. So that here in Canada, a lot of companies use ATS system. It's like automatic tracking system, something like that. So it's a software being used by a lot of companies, So whenever you apply to that to these companies, your resume, your PDF file gets scanned by the ATS software of that company, so that all the keywords that you put in, based on that, your profile would be considered. If the keywords are not found in your resume would be completely rejected. So what I've seen so far, even in LinkedIn, they have got this ATS. If they don't find the keywords in 3 days, you would get an automatic rejection. There is no person rejecting you. It's a system rejecting you, right? So keyword is the most important thing. So start writing your skills, your expertise, and kind of positions that you are looking for, and then start with your academic or your professional projects with proper keywords. Then put your employment history, and at the end you put your education, because education is the least important thing on a resume. Right. So yeah.
True. That will definitely help to our students. And while studying, students, international students do part-time jobs, right? So what kind of part-time jobs are available for students, and how is the payment? And is that payment sufficient to survive for students, or we have to ask for some money from home to survive?
So to be honest, it depends on this, like the city that you are living in. to speak about this Windsor city during my educational years. Windsor has a very bad reputation that there are no off-campus jobs available because it's a very small city, and there are big two institutions, University of Windsor and St. Clair College. So there are a lot of students, and it's a small city. So there is not a lot of work opportunities for everyone. What I did specifically was I was a research assistant with my professor. I was paid once during the start of the semester. That's the only payment that I got. And then apart from that, I was working as a graduate teaching assistant. So I was teaching the undergrads in the University of Windsor. I had 180 students over the course of 3 semesters. And I was being paid semester wise. And I was doing a third job on campus in a call center, the University of Windsor call center itself, where I had a duty to call the alumni and ask for the donation if they wanted to support the students for the scholarships, things like that. So these were the work that I did on campus. But to be honest, I had difficult time finding a job off campus as well. Starting with other cities, I would say there are a lot of opportunities available. Everybody is doing a lot of work. And when you mentioned about the payment, right? So payment here in Canada is bi-weekly in most of the situations. It depends on the employers, because some of the employers, they pay you monthly as well. So sometimes if you might get paid directly in your bank, or you might get a check as well, like in India. So it depends employer to employer. And there is a minimum wage set by the government. So you would be paid that particular amount in your part-time labor job as well. So you don't have to worry about that. You can survive. You can pay your rent. You can pay for your groceries, because there is a rule that you can pay. You can work a maximum of 20 hours as a part-time worker in Canada. Also, in my university, there was one more thing, that in university I could work 24 hours every week on campus, and legally I could work 20 hours off campus from the government rule. But during the orientation, my university suggested that if you work 24 hours on campus, 20 hours off campus, that is 44 hours. That's more than full-time employment. Then when are you going to study? Right?
True.
Right. So that was not recommended, but that is allowed. But it depends on the university and college. Not all the university and colleges allow to work on campus and off campus altogether. So you have to contact your college or university so that you can make sure that you are not working illegal hours anytime or any moment, because that is the most important thing. And with some of the employers, you might get paid in cash. So I would tell you a secret: do not go for those employers, because that's not a legal practice.
Exactly.
Even though a lot of people do that, it's not a common practice to do.
But students can get trapped, right? Because they are on study permit, they can be barred, right?
Because I am paying my income tax returns since I landed here in Canada. So that would harm your reputation and a lot of things in the future. Because you might like things right now that you don't have to pay taxes, but you are being oppressed by the employers because they don't pay you the minimum wage when they pay you in cash.
True.
Right? And sometimes I also had to use some money from my loan because I was running out of money, because sometimes you have to pay fees and there are a lot of miscellaneous expenses that you have to take care. So, manage your expenses such a way that you don't see a hard day. So
Right. So students, do not go for illegal practices. That's not going to help you. Today you may feel like you are having money, but tomorrow when you will go for your further future, that might hamper your further decisions. Yes. And having said that, with that, how you manage your household chores? In India, everything is done by mom, because Indian kids are raised like that. Cooking, laundry, grocery, everything is done by parents. So how you managed it, and was it difficult? What tips you can give to our international students?
So basically, I haven't lived with anyone since I landed here in Canada. I've been living alone for like last 4.5 years. Luckily, I knew how to cook because I used to cook in India when my mom used to work during summer holidays and things like that. I did some experiments, so I knew cooking, but that's not a common thing with each and everyone who are coming from India, especially. And before coming here, I was living in Mumbai for 2.5 years. So in Mumbai, I used to live with my grandparents. So I used to help them. So I knew how to do the laundry and how to wash the vessels and utensils and things like that, because that was in my practice. So it was not difficult for me, but definitely it was a lot difficult for a lot of my classmates that I knew, because they had they were they were served with a glass water in India while they were eating their food and things like that. So it was very difficult for them, but I didn't find it difficult. So I would just suggest one thing. Ask your parents to do everything in India 1 month before you come here, so that you can have a basic idea how difficult it can get. That's the only suggestion that I would give.
Right, right. And how to deal with the homesickness. Household chore and everything will keep you somewhat busy. But during Indian festivals, students find it difficult. You are away from your friends, your family, your country. So how to deal with that homesickness?
I would say a lot of people, like day by day, the Indian community is growing, and they have been organizing the Navratri days, or let's say Ganpati days, or a lot of festivals they celebrate. And there are a lot of venues and a lot of events being hosted by a lot of people, a lot of organizations. So you can enjoy all those festivals if you want to. So I would not say you would feel homesickness, but yeah, you would not have the same feeling, because sometimes they have to focus on the sound thing and the limitations that they have. They have to follow the rules. So those things are there. But if you are here living, sacrificing all these things in India, so you are here for a purpose. So whenever you feel homesick, just remember the long-term purpose why you are here, right? Then you won't feel homesick. That's what I do.
True, true, true. And how is the medical system for students? If by God forbidden, if something happens with a student, if some accident is there or something like that, how that is taken care of? Is it covered in their medical insurance?
So when I came here, when I paid fees, they also charged the medical insurance within my fees itself. So I didn't know that. When I landed here, when I received my ID card from the university, they handed over me my medical insurance card as well. And I was informed that everything is covered, whatever your medications, whatever you want to do. So a couple of time I had used the service by going for the blood work, the urine test and stool test, and different MRIs, and I did my dental thing as well. So all these things are covered by the university, but also it depends from university to university and college to college. So make sure before using any service, because some of the universities or colleges do not include dental and vision,
Exactly.
or they might include up to some limit of dollars. So please be aware of all these services. Ask questions. If you don't ask questions, you would not be able to know. Ask questions so that you can clarify on those things and you can use those services wisely.
Right, right. So medical system in the sense, if some minor things are there, let us say cold and cough is there for any student, can that student directly go to any physician, or is there any system like taking appointment and then only you can meet? Can you directly just walk in, just like in India, we can just go and meet that physician?
So there are a lot of walk-in clinics available as well, but also there it depends how long the queue is, how long the waiting time is also, right? And in some of the cases you have to book an appointment. In those cases, for the appointment they give you an appointment after a month.
Oh,
By that time you would be done with your cold and things like
fine.
that. But good thing about my university, they had their own clinic within the university. So I used that service. They had very good, brilliant doctors team of doctors, team of nurses, and everything. But for the blood work and all the other services, they used to send me to the downtown hospital and things like that. So that's a normal practice here in Canada.
Right.
But I would say walk-in clinics are available as well, for
Right,
sure.
right. And OTG, like over the counter OTC medicines
OTC.
are available, right? For
Yes.
basic.
I've been using a lot of OTC medicines. I don't
Mm.
consult doctors
Mm.
often because
Mm.
that would consume a lot of time and
Yeah.
energy for me.
True.
So I would just go to any pharmacy. I would, if I'm confused, I would ask the pharmacy doctor
Right.
that I'm feeling this. Could you
Mm.
suggest me any medicine from the counter? And they would
Exactly.
just point it out, and I just pick it up and pay and go.
Right.
Simple.
Right. So that can be taken care of.
Yes.
Now, how to get involved in their culture? Because it is very much difficult if you will stay with your mindset of your Indian culture mindset or any other country's mindset. It will be very difficult to mingle up with anyone, to be involved in that system and culture. So how to be, how to be open and meet locals and get involved in their culture?
I would say open for the opportunities, open for the communication, open for the conversations. Do not hesitate. Do not feel like you are missing out on something. Do not have inferiority complex. Even if you're introvert, try communicating with one person at least, because that's the best way to learn. Try to observe things, what people are doing on the road, because sometimes what I witness a lot of people do is that they just want to be themselves, even though they are in different country, they are in different culture, in different environment. They don't want to change themselves. It's very difficult for them, and
Right.
at the end of the day, they end up being a culprit in the situation, because they are not treated welcome, because they don't want to be welcome, right?
Exactly.
So try to be welcome, try to be part of the group. Don't afraid of making mistakes. If you are not going to make mistakes, you are not going to learn. So it's easy because people here are a lot polite than you can expect. There are a lot of thank yous and sorries that you would hear in a day that you would have heard in India over your whole life. Because Canadian people are a lot polite. They hold door for you. There are a lot of thank yous, there are a lot of sorries. So they are polite. You just have to mingle with them. Be respectful of their space, and they would help you.
Right. So, if you want to give any kind of suggestion or any what I can say, um, a preferred thing that you will suggest to student, thing you must carry from India when you are traveling to Canada. So, what will be that?
To carry a physical thing, I would say you would get everything here. Even you would get Indian food and everything. So there is no specific thing apart from your basic clothes, based on the environment, based on the time that you are landing in Canada. So normal things, the clothes and shoes and your documents and everything. So these are the typical physical things, right? But on a like the mental thing, I would say don't bring your sheep herd mentality, right? Come here because you want to do something. Don't come here because your friend is coming or your brother is coming or your cousin is coming. You are coming here because you want to achieve something, you want to pursue something. If you keep that mentality, survival is damn easy. If you are here because your friend came or you wanted to just come and have fun, survival would be difficult for you. So yeah.
Right. So one thing that you must remember as a student in Canada, that would be what you must remember as a student.
Don't try to cheat.
Okay.
Because here the education system in Canada as a student is here to help you. It's not here to harm you. In India, education at some level, education system is harming us, right? At some or the other point, because not everyone is at the same level. Even though we are being taught at the same level, we are being examined at the same level. Here, it's not the same system. There is everything for each and every kind of people with different IQ or different intelligence level or different grasping power. If you're not good at something, doesn't mean that you are bad at everything. You might be good at some other thing, right? So don't try to cheat, because here for the exams and everything, they have very good plagiarism softwares being used by the professors. So be authenticate with yourself. If you are falling behind the assignment date or your project deadline and things like that, you can put a simple, very nice email, and your professor will be accommodating to your request. Even though your whole class of 60, 59 are of them going to submit the assignment tonight, you will be given an extension for 2 more days. So that I've seen here. So don't try to cheat your professors, the system here. Just be authentic, be honest, and everything will be good.
Right. And what is your one suggestion to the student who is coming to Canada this year, 22, 2023?
I would say keep your hopes high. Don't lose hope. Keep working, keep hustling. Things would take time, but things would happen. Don't expect things overnight, because no one has promised you anything that things would happen overnight. So don't expect in return anything. Just keep doing your karma and things will be good.
Right. Nice. And then the last one. After the student life, how that PR journey is, what are the chances, what are the possibilities with respect to PR? Because many students work hard for these 3-4 years because they are looking forward to PR. So how is the journey? In a glimpse, you can just say, is it possible or it is very difficult, like that?
So also it depends on the province that you are living in. Some of the provinces are damn easy to gain your PR. Some of the provinces would take time to gain your PR. Also, it depends on the personal profile as well. So I would say keep hustling. PR thing is easy because Canada wants people to come and work, because we also have a big labor shortage in 2022. So by the end of the 2023 or early 2024, when you are graduating, there still might be a lot of jobs created or a lot of vacancies available. So don't worry about your PR. If you focus on your PR, it would be difficult for you to focus on other things. But eventually you would get your PR. And to be honest, it's been 4.5 years for me. I haven't got my PR yet. And I'm still waiting for that. But I'm still here. So don't worry about that.
No, struggle is a part of life. So do not look at only green pictures and just move there, students. So struggle is real and you have to be ready for that. Right. True.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Ruturaj, for talking to us. I know and I hope that many students will get benefit from this talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you like the video, subscribe the channel. Bye.